at 6:30. So actually, since Sue just walked in, we have the minutes from yesterday as well. Do you want us to take a minute to look at it?
Oh, is that the ones over here?
Yeah, I tossed it at you, Jody. I tossed a copy at you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I thought I handed you a copy. They're not really big or anything, but if we could just get this all out of the way, that would be lovely.
Um, I move adoption of the minutes of April 9th, 2018.
Second.
One small correction.
Okay. What is it?
Christina called the meeting of the Dummerston Town School Board to odor. She actually called it to order at 3:01 p.m.
Any further discussions about the minutes of April 9th? All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays or abstentions? The ayes have it. We also have the minutes from March 29th, April 3rd, and April 5th.
So move.
Thank you, Jody, for moving that. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is it March 29th or was it March? What is March
I think it's the
29th?
27th.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, really?
no, isn't that a,
Yes, there was one the 27th.
Was the 29th?
the 29th was an
AGS?
AGS meeting.
AGS, so it was
Okay.
27th. Change that. Good.
Friendly amendment. Change the.
No, I think these are from the AGS meeting, isn't it, though?
The
Well-
ones that I have in my book are from the 27th.
27th?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's for
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
We don't
Shelley,
move
yeah,
the-
that was the day Shelley came.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was the day.
So I knew we had a
Shelley-
27th and we had a 29th meeting, but I guess we haven't met since the,
I thought we approved by.
I thought we approved the 27th.
No, I don't think we approved the 27th.
And I can't, for some reason,
We
like.
approved the April 3rd and April 5th. April 3rd and April 5th are not making any sense to me.
April 3rd was, yes.
Last week, a week ago.
Last week, first reading of the new kindergarten, when we couldn't find the
We had
kindergarten
that quick
policy.
meeting
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
to discuss paving.
It's
Bids
April
and stuff,
3rd.
yeah.
What was April? April 5th is an AGS.
That's an
then.
AGS.
AGS. So we need to get rid of the April 5th one.
And the March.
No, the
29th.
AGS is also, because we had a quorum at
Oh,
the
okay,
meeting,
so you
so we
want
have
that
to
one
approve
too.
the AGS
Okay.
minutes. Sorry, okay, I'm sorry, that's what you're, yeah, I'm sorry. Because we have had quorums at the meeting, we
Yeah.
have to make sure we're approving the
Yeah,
minutes.
because now I'm on the board, so it makes it cool.
We've been doing that anyway, though, so.
So
Okay.
were they the March 27th minutes?
Yes.
Or
The
moved
27th was here.
Yep, that was the Shelley meeting.
by Michael McGillian and seconded by?
It was,
I moved it.
moved it by Jody and seconded by Michael.
That's right, you're taking the minutes.
Yep.
Brief minutes.
Talk slowly.
I'm writing down those firsts and seconds, so I'll back you up. if
Thank you,
there's
'cause that's
any-
one thing I
I know,
cannot
and
do.
that's the thing we have to get, so it's good to get that. So, any further discussion on the minutes of March 27th, April 3rd, April 5th? All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays or abstentions? The ayes have it.
So these are all approved, and I have to tell Barb to take the draft off. Okay.
Right, but the 9th has that odor problem, so I just.
I will send that to.
The 9th? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. It's gonna be with the odor.
The odor problem, you said? I don't want anything.
With one change, spelling change.
Yes.
Order to order.
And communications. I have one communication from Dick Verkstis asking if we're doing all of our, I had two communications for Dick Verkstis, I'm sorry. One, asking if we're doing our pre-buying of all our fuel as a supervisory union.
That will be going out to bid April 25th, I think.
Okay.
So that's what we do, it goes out to bid rather
goes out to
than
bid.
a quote pre-buy.
Well,
It is a pre-buy.
it is a
Right.
pre-buy, right, but it goes out to bid still.
Yeah. And who do you send it out, who do we send it out to bid to?
I would assume anybody that's doing oil, so anybody like, does Dead River, Rice, Barrows.
Allen Brothers,
Possibly Allen Brothers, yeah. If it,
the one down in Massachusetts. I mean, I know who we
yeah,
put things out to bid for quite a bit, and it
Yeah.
changes.
I can send, I'll find out from Frank, or we send it to him.
I think he was just wanting to make sure that we did it, and I said, I'm 99% sure
Yeah.
that we bid it all out
Yeah, we do.
together. And then he
Mhm.
also was just pushing along, urging us to consider the adoption of pre-K. So he sent out a letter doing that.
Being teachers, I see that they would be.
You put him up to that, Jen?
No,
just
I haven't
joking.
talked to him, he's been an invalid.
No. Any other communications to any board members? Excellent. Okay. Recognition of groups or individuals. We have pretty empty house tonight. Excellent. Moving along.
We missed putting something on the agenda if we wanted to, right? Ahead of time,
Correct. I did not do it as the,
because we haven't talked about our emails, have we? We haven't
we
decided.
did last time.
Did
and
we
Michael
just
was gonna
definitely
check.
decide?
Yeah, Michael
Oh,
was
Yeah.
gonna
okay.
work on that.
All
I
right,
voted, I have,
Yeah.
okay, so you have some stuff to talk
it's
about.
old business.
So the warrants of April 10th in the amount of $21,297.37. I would entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I move.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
May I comment at this point?
Yep. Or,
I would appreciate it if they came a day early, rather than at 3 o'clock the afternoon of our meeting, when it's really difficult to sit and really look at it.
so what is the timeline on, I know this is not your,
You can ask, and then I can
She'll
say,
give you an answer.
I'll find out.
well, no, I think it's fine if it's fine with you, I could ask Frank, is there some way we could get them early? But I just thought, I don't want to step on your toes either. Okay, so I will email Frank and ask if we could try to get them the day before. I mean, I was at a trade show, I'm trying to look at the warrants on a cell phone,
Yeah.
and so I
Well,
feel
I
your
didn't-
pain.
They came in at 3 and I didn't see them till just before the meeting, so, it's quick,
Yep. Excellent. Any other discussion on the contents of the warrants? All those in favor of approving the minutes of 4:10, please signify by saying aye.
The minutes?
Warrants.
Warrants, sorry.
I know, it's been a long day.
It's been a really long
Aye.
day. Thank you, Michael, for that stricken look. The ayes have it. Administrative reports.
It's up to you, either one of us can go.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is juuling, Juuling. It's something that I'm going to be talking with all the principals about and each of the boards. It's the sort of newest thing in vaping, but it looks
Oh.
like a thumb drive. And you actually can plug it into your computer to charge it up, but there's basically no vapor, and a kid could eat just like, and never know. At this point, it's, if you've read anything, the principals and superintendents nationwide are working on what we can do about this. The concentration of nicotine is incredibly high. So at this point, all we can do is education because it is so hard. But we'll be keeping track of, our kids, all of a sudden, are there a lot of thumb drives in school? And but as parents, you may also want to this is the newest delivery system, so just so that you know.
Is there some way that could go home with in a nurse's report or something,
That would be good.
so that,
And I can talk with Mary Ann, or you and I can talk with Mary And the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight, continuous improvement plans. So the Wyndham Southeast has a continuous improvement plan. We're required to, it's been sent to the state to be approved before we can get any special ed money, any Title I money, Title IIA money. Our continuous improvement plan must be approved. So just so that you know that our goals are similar to the goals that we've had in the past: safe and healthy schools, academic achievement, and effective collaboration and leadership. And just a couple of points from that: providing sufficient academic support personnel, providing coaching and mentors to principals, to staff, teachers, high quality, effective research-based instruction and assessment, looking at funding coaches through Title I and Title IIA, and professional development for coaches through those. Mentoring, working with teams of students, for instance, your leadership team here, to strengthen student
Yes.
assets. Identify and
What
address
did you
student and
find?
parent concerns about school safety.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's actually the JUing kind of falls under that.
Mhm.
Support diverse groups of learners. And then student and
Okay.
parent climate
Thanks.
surveys, and really
Bye-bye.
using those to look at areas where we want to maybe set some goals. And that might be something that we do this summer. We have a retreat, is to look at parent surveys, see if there are areas that we think, oh, this is something that the community, the parent community or the student community is interested in, and we may think about creating a goal about that. So Dummerston will be doing their own continuous improvement plan. I, after talking to Joe Carroll, know that it's underway and eventually, yep. That also will have to be sent, even though Dummerston isn't a Title I school. We do benefit here from Title IIA funds, so it will have to be sent to be approved, and it'll come to you.
Okay.
And that's it for me. I do have a school safety thing, but I can do
Why
it
don't
down
we
on
do it-
school safety?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe Carroll, did you have any,
I did. Do you want to do the school? You want to hold?
I'll
school
wait till the,
safety?
yeah.
Okay. So, I just had a couple things you saw in your folder, the recognition at the state. There are two video developers. That's pretty good, second place. Based on the Child Abuse Prevention Month.
It's Charlie.
Yeah, it is, Charlie. Also in your folder are two principal administrator surveys. Yours is clipped with a self-addressed stamped envelope that it would be helpful if you could fill out and send back to Mary Ann, who is keeping the results. But I also attached the one that goes to the teachers and staff, which is different than the one that goes to school board members and parents, community members, and to central office staff.
So this is for you?
This is for me, based on me. And I did sort of tease out things that were more appropriate for faculty and staff to answer about me than some of the questions that you have as my bosses to answer.
Nothing from back in the old days, just as a principal, huh?
Yes. I talked about that. I also wanted to talk about the graduation, 8th grade graduation date.
oh yeah, great.
It's traditionally been Tuesday forever. And learned very quickly when I started here that Linda, I said Tuesday is Thursday's day. Okay. Tuesday this year would mean that the 8th graders would be done a week before school got out for other students, which
I am opposed to that.
so I thought maybe if we change it to Thursday, the 14th, I think, it would be a little bit more
Is anybody
palatable.
else?
Huh?
Is anybody else on Thursday? Because I just heard about people were conflicted between Vernon and Guilford being on the same day or whatever.
Yeah, and I can't see why any, it used to be, I don't know, if central office used to come to school graduations, but the only thing that we need to not conflict with is this high school graduation. Some kids have, some parents have children possibly in Brattleboro schools, or in Vernon, or in Guilford. But, you know, they've always been released to go to their step up or graduation ceremony or whatever. I can't see why it needs to stay there.
Where it's at.
I mean, I don't want to completely change it forever.
Yeah, but I think just in terms of how, where the school year's ending with snow days, I
Yeah.
think it's a smart thing to not have.
Thursday?
So I'm going to say Thursday.
So it's the
then.
14th, yeah, June 14th is a Thursday. That sounds good to me. Any other thoughts on that? That's not really emotional, but.
Just a question, I mean, does everybody get together and set these days so that they don't conflict?
Brattleboro graduation is set, and that's.
Elementary?
No,
Or high school?
high school,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the rest, we try to work it out. So I had sent around a message last week, I think, what days are you thinking? BAMS is usually the Wednesday before Brattleboro High School. That's the other one that we try to stay away from because there could be conflicts with Guilford, Vernon, and all the Brattleboro Town schools. This year, Brattleboro Town will be Monday, the 18th, so they're pushing it back a week. And Guilford and Vernon.
I think they went from, I think they're on Monday, aren't they?
They're Monday.
They
Because that's,
were.
I heard from somebody about that because they were cousins and one was in Guilford
Yeah.
and one was in Vernon and
They
they
may-
couldn't go
they
to
may
each
both
other's
be, right.
graduation.
Right, and Putney is a Monday, but I felt like Guilford was going to change theirs because they've had even one more day than everybody else.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mm.
because they had
Mud day.
no, they had wires down, so they couldn't get into the school. But I can send that out. And I'll send it to you, the dates. when
No
everybody's-
conflict with Flag Day, it is
Ooh,
June 14th.
June 14th.
Everybody, my smartphone was telling me that. So.
And this isn't necessarily an administrative report, but I just wanted to check on whether or not we were going to meet on Thursday, April 26th, which is a Thursday, not a Tuesday that week after.
Oh, right, we were
Yeah.
moving that, yes.
We're going to move it because
Right,
the
right.
lawn and mowing bid would come up.
That's right, yes.
Mhm.
I moved that on the work
I
plan.
got it on my
Okay. I
I
26th.
changed the work plan that I sent out, right?
So
You looked at me funny, Michael. When I sent you the updated work plan, I made that.
the 26th, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it on my calendar, so
Okay,
it must
good.
have.
And Shelley's gonna join you for that meeting because there's another meeting that night that I'll have to do,
Oh, okay.
because it's a Thursday.
Who's Shelley?
Shelley, the woman that was here to
Shelley
give the
Yeah?
presentation, she's going to be the central office rep that
Oh,
night.
okay.
Well, also
Pardon me
during,
if I'm new.
It's all right.
also during our work session meetings, we're not really making motions all that much, so if central office can't attend, I mean, your central office is always welcome, let me say that at the get-go, but that's more of a work session and we're really trying not to make motions and do
Okay.
big things, but just to catch up on and sort of keep, the only thing we might do is warrants sometimes if we're getting behind on them, because I would have brought them through so things don't get
Oh, I'm supposed to do
jammed up.
something with you.
And did you want to talk about the Gaga as part of your administrative report?
Well, I could tell by your initial response that that would be a positive thing. I thought, part of the fundraising efforts of PTFO included the playground, so at some point later this month or beginning of next month, we're going to send out a survey just asking parents about things. But I have made it very clear that nothing will change until it gets run by the board and by our insurance company
Yeah.
person to also check. And as we were having this discussion, Nick came and said that he would like to propose doing something for the school in the form of some playground equipment. as his Eagle project, so.
That's
um,
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So I looked at it, still couldn't figure out what exactly it was. Don't quite get the draw of it, but,
Take you on a field trip.
the younger,
You've never been a
Kids
seventh
love
grade
it.
boy, I guess.
Kids
guess.
love it.
Westmoreland
Soccer
soccer
tournament.
Oh,
Really?
Oh, they have it got up there.
They have it
I have
now.
even a hard time saying it.
They have like
One of those G pits. Yeah, and information online says it's quite fun and recreational, and all I see is kids tumbling over backwards over.
Kids love it.
Right, in the
Kids
mud
love it.
pit that it will turn out to be in March.
Which
Well,
kids
it's like
will really.
sand on the bottom, really. It's a
Well,
sandy base.
We may not do the sand, we may just keep it grass, but then again, I don't know how you know it, so I don't know what they'll do.
that was the mud pit at Walpole or Westmoreland, huh? I was watching the kids play, and that's what we're talking.
Oh, is that what?
No, I don't think that's, it looked like this, Jody.
Yeah, I know, but the kids were inside of it, all playing.
Yeah, but it
something
wasn't
or-
muddy. It's pretty sandy.
And then I saw, when I went online, that they have netting, that
Oh, you could
functions
just
in
do
the
it-
same
Right.
thing that,
You
maybe
could just move it
something
around
not-
the grass.
Oh, so you don't just.
But that
set
wouldn't
the
make a
grass
very
in.
good Eagle Scout project.
No.
No.
I think that,
No, it could be my Eagle Scout.
Shopping Scout project.
Yeah.
It's a variation dodgeball.
It
Yeah,
is a
Yep.
variation.
yeah.
Except there's not a lot of, there's just one ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good. It's good, clean, fun.
yeah.
I don't know. They want to be herded into a pen. I don't know. Go with it.
That part I really like.
Lock them
How
up.
big can
Really?
you make it? That's all I have.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
This is Paige.
Oh, the
It's payroll.
payroll. We have to sign off on payroll.
Well, how does that go with this grand total here? The 21,000, and the figures are not those figures here, so how does that
There's
work?
no payroll in this.
There's no payroll in this, so this is separate, this is just the payroll?
Yes.
And so I haven't signed any of these, and one says 3/2, 3/16, and 3/30.
So I can tell you what happened in Guilford, because Guilford board, all except for one person changed over and the old board hadn't signed off. So what this board can do is just say that you're going to ratify what the previous board members did.
So
You can sign off.
so we're signing off for the 3/30 as well,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yep.
And where do I sign? Does it matter which one I sign in?
Whatever you want.
Whichever one
Okay.
you want.
Thank you.
What did you say, Lyle, the board agreed?
To ratify.
To ratify the payroll, whatever date, going back to whatever date.
So we should probably
I guess
have a
we have
motion to
everybody.
do that because the 3/2 payroll, no, because we don't have
Well, you would have had 4.
4 here, so we're
So that
fine.
you'd be
Okay,
fine.
yeah,
You'd
okay.
be fine.
Right. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, but
No, I'm just realizing like, no, oh, we didn't get that signed then, it didn't come around, whatever, so. Okay, moving along. Buildings and grounds, paving bids. So thank you all for meeting last week so that we could just sort of talk about the changes. And then I got a text from Lee at 8:51 on last Thursday morning saying Dave Manning is coming to take a look at it and tell us what he thinks. Do you want to meet him there? I'm sure. It's hailing and snowing and raining all at the same time. This sounds like a great time to meet with a paving guy. But what Lee always has done with paving is anybody who got a big contract the previous year, he doesn't feel badly about asking them to come and just give their thoughts on paving here. So there's no obligation. It will still be an open bid. But he agreed with Lee's assessment that what we have out here is just, it would be a waste of money to resurface it. And that because of how the water is pooling down in there where the buses have gone over, that it really needs to be completely resurfaced, and he and Lee spoke about how the water needs to be moving in a way that takes it out of the middle here and off to the road. And it's nice to get the road crew involved in this, because as they're going, that road's pretty high now, and they kept going up and up and up. And so it was really good to have Lee here, because he said, yeah, maybe next time we'll pull up all that pavement instead of make it higher and higher, because we have this kind of
Yeah.
battle with the road crew here. Like, if we make ours higher, it's going there. So that was really great to have Lee's help. Lee has said the town would definitely, in exchange for pulling up the pavement, they can mix the pavement that's ground up with gravel at like 25%, so it's worth it to the town to pull this up. He's also said that if the bid is going to be too much, the town would be willing to do it for a very low cost for doing the subsurface. So when Dave Manning came, he said he thinks we can actually dig up the part that's very bad. He believes we haven't gotten an idea back from him, but he measured up how much asphalt he's gonna need. He says he needs 3 inches of asphalt instead of the 1.25 inches. So he's gonna just double check his numbers. Lee's gonna get a transit out here so we can be really clear on what we're bidding on. And he thinks, though, just as that we might be able to, for the money that we've budgeted, redo this whole area here and then put 2 inches kind of from Sue's car back, put another 2 inches so everything is going off into, not a swale, but going off kind of into the grass here, shedding off of here, so we get a 15 to 20 year fix, as opposed to, really, when I look at it, and I've learned so much when I look at it, it's, freezing and thawing in a ditch like this with cars and buses going over it. I don't even think it would have been a 5-year plan. So we're hoping for the best, but Lee's going to get his transit over here and give us a really good number on the amount of asphalt. So I hope to have something in the next week on that, especially when it rains. Nobody can do paving, so they're at your disposal. So maybe.
Snowing out there.
Let me. So that was relatively good news, that we could have this all done and done the right way. We're pretty close to what we had budgeted, and if we can't, the town doesn't need to make a profit on it, so they would do it for cost of materials and cost of labor. So for this, they can't pave, but just for the preparation of the subsurface. Ooh, that was good. I pulled up the word subsurface late in the day. So. And I said to Lee, gosh, this is such a great project as to why children need to know about geometry, volume, and I think a transit is such a cool thing. Like, I remember when I first saw transit, I was like, this is awesome. And so I was thinking about going to Keith Marshall and saying, hey, what do you think about like having them calculate the and Lee said, gosh, if the kids ever wanted to do that, I would love to come show them how we do,
That's awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I was like, the middle school science teacher in me was like, oh my God, this is such a fun project. We can talk about what happens with the water when it freezes and thaws in the wintertime. Where do you think those holes come from? And gravity, it's all there. So,
You may end up with a job if you keep
I know,
going.
really.
I'm no Keith Marshall, ma'am. I've known Keith Marshall, and let me tell you, I'm no Keith Marshall. No, he's so great, but I think it'd be a really fun thing for the kids to do that, and especially for the Chamberlain brothers to have their uncle out. And you see people doing stuff every day on the roads all the time, and to have some idea of what's involved, especially when it's happening right here at the school, it would be kind of an interesting thing. So Lee was really excited. He was like, I'd love to come and do that. So it'd be really,
Good for him.
yeah, he's really been wonderful and
great.
helpful. Really, really wonderful and
Well,
helpful.
it's nice to be working with the town, because for years the town was hands off, and that's nice.
We have a wonderful town. We're very lucky.
Mhm.
And on Alliance Mechanical, in the driving over, I remembered that we have some grant money we could go after, right? From Efficiency Vermont, or
Right,
rebate.
which we did, basically.
Oh, so it's done? You did that? Oh,
The grant money that Gary came and talked to us
yeah.
about.
You did the work for that?
Well, I haven't had to do any work other than emailing him and saying, will you hold to your word that
Yeah.
there was some money available, and he said, yes, he needed to meet with Alliance this week, yesterday.
Okay.
He did, to make sure the scope of the project was the same as what it was, or similar to what we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as all those parameters were in place, I think they can channel some.
So we don't have to do any,
As far as I
Extra
know,
help or-
no.
wow, wonderful, okay.
Um,
I was just gonna try to find resources to help you in some way if that needed to be done.
I don't, at this point, think there needs
Okay.
to be any, could be wrong, it's hard to believe that, but yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe we should take a look, ask Frank for kind of an update on what our spending has been thus far this year, and so I can add it to the next agenda, which is a work session on the 26th. And we could just take a look at what we have left for spending, knowing, you know, with this paving bid,
Yeah.
bid coming in, you know, I mean, sort of spec'd out what we have, and so we can make some decisions knowing what we have left.
Good idea.
So I will ask Frank to, that's,
Yep, I just did that in Brattleboro last week, so.
oh, okay.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Anything else on buildings and grounds?
The ad was for grounds.
Oh, thank you. So Joe Carroll, the ad was for grounds, not for paving. It was the bid for the.
For the ground, oh, good,
Ah.
okay.
So I'm
Good.
sorry, I got your blood
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
But Paul's sorry that he,
No, so
It's
Friday,
ready.
this Friday at 10, we meet with anybody that has questions. And then the opening of the bid is the Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
which we'll bring to the board that evening.
and I do have a question.
Mhm.
And I want to know why some of these bids are going to a facility manager. I didn't know we had a facility manager instead of coming to here.
The only thing that I know about the facility manager is that BUHS has a facility manager, and Frank talked with him and asked him to come and look at the driveway because they've done so much paving just to get, actually, just what you talked about.
Right.
Is it make sense to just pave over, or should we dig it out and start all over? And so he had talked with the facility manager to come look at that.
But the ad for the grounds was to the facility manager,
I think that
believe.
they put facility manager to differentiate it from other mail going to central office.
So, I guess my question is, why isn't it coming to here?
Because I don't want it to come to here. I want the bid process because of the statutes that follow a bidding process to make sure that it goes through central office that knows a lot more about it than our facilities manager and me.
If somebody opened something by mistake or whatever, you know, like that's.
And I
just-
think
that would-
facilities
that would be
manager
very
just-
bad.
Yeah.
puts it into the pile that this must be bidding for Dummerston's project. So I'll go down to the opening, but I don't want the school and me to be responsible for making sure all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed in that process.
So this isn't an SU
So it
facilities
sounds like
manager?
no.
No,
It
it
is
sounds
a
like
high
a-
school.
Goes,
No,
so
it's
we're
not.
talking about two different things. What I was talking about, I thought you meant the
That's what I
facilities
thought when you talked
manager
about it.
coming up and looking at this project.
Which is still the high school one.
Which is the high school one, right, just to inform us when we were putting the bid out. But the facilities manager just means that at central office, they all go into one place because they have to be opened at the same time. There can't be mistakes opening one, like it comes to Dummerston School and the admin assistant opens it to see what it
Oh,
is. And
yeah, I see what you
that
mean.
would
Right.
not,
Or
not be
get
good.
stuck in the mail thing.
So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they all go into a pile, Dummerston, for Dummerston, and then
But we don't have a facilities manager for SU. Good, thank you. That was my, that
You
was
had
my
multiple
point.
questions there.
Okay, I was just,
I know you're allowed to have multiple questions.
I've only been here
Yes.
3-4
No,
weeks,
well,
so.
no, I know. No
No,
worries,
but
Jody.
just, don't, think that that might not be something that would be very valuable to principals in rural schools in the future. I have talked for years about how helpful it would be to have somebody like Bob Clark who came out and looked at it, because between me and whoever happens to be the custodian here at the time, we would never have thought to think, you know, that we're looking at, I was looking at a 5-year fix for the driveway versus a,
But you've also got to
Right.
give some credit to the board members who've gone ahead and gotten some of this stuff done too.
No, but it was
Oh,
Bob, it was
absolutely.
Bob Clark's suggestion that got us thinking about it too, so that was
Right.
really helpful that he did.
right,
come
and,
by.
but, you know, there's paving, there's arsenic treatment, water treatment, boiler, I mean, there's just so many different things, insulation, you name it, in just this building. It's just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I just have a
She
different
says to-
philosophy at this point, so, but I'm new, so
Right,
I'll.
right. I know, and it's different as a board member who has interest in finding out about certain things, as a way of sort of financially being astute about having to do it versus knowing the engineering components of all the different structure and things that go into maintaining a building. You know, from just carpeting and VOCs and pulling up carpeting and when you should contact those Serve Pro, the companies that make sure
Right,
that, you know,
right.
things are
Mold and.
not
yeah.
toxic and moldy.
Yep.
And
Well, I'm willing to listen.
yes, I know that, Jody.
So, moving on, Finance Committee.
Nothing to report.
May 1st, 5:30.
Okay.
We have a meeting on May 1st at 5:30.
You're gonna have
So,
flagpole and some ribbons, May Day.
Made it.
oh, May Day. And AGS Subcommittee, meeting with the Agency of Education representatives. We were all there, so the only person that we'd be, and Emily watched it live on Facebook, on the Putney Huddle.
It is
Is she?
live on
Yes.
Facebook.
It is?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
on
at the
Putney
time it was
Huddle.
live, but now you can watch it on Facebook, so. And I think Laura Chapman was behind my heads, which
Yes.
I'm really excited about.
The one I've got, pictures I've got, you're right there.
Thanks, Jody. Well, you're not live on.
But
Close
it's
enough.
gone, it's viral throughout the state, so,
So, like, just the thumbs up or thumbs down?
So it was two attorneys and
oh, she did
Finance
wonderful.
Finance guy.
Great.
and a finance guy, so it's really interesting to talk to. Luckily, I'm a business person and I know lawyers, so I felt like I was good talking to them, but it was a real shame that there was not somebody there who had education as their focus
Yeah.
when talking about education.
With you or to them, to
To
somebody with education?
To
There
whom
was no
is this
Secretary of
addressed?
Education,
I
it
see
was
what
two
you're saying.
attorneys, it was the general counsel, it was Donna Russo Savage, who's an attorney by training, to my knowledge. None of the three have a lot of classroom experience. Lovely people, but it's just, that's kind of a shame in terms of this process.
I had hoped that the interim secretary would be there, but they said she's not planning on doing it, so, and I think probably today was the last day with, Wyndham, maybe.
Yeah, I think Wyndham Central was going today. 'Cause,
Oh, Wyndham Central hasn't been yet?
not all of them, because Bill Antone sent me an email yesterday asking, like, where is it, and
Well, that's Wyndham, but I thought everybody else was part of their merger.
I don't know. It was Stratton and,
They don't have a school though, Stratton, right?
yeah, I
High
don't
school
know.
district.
But they probably still have to go.
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah,
So-
but Bill Antone definitely was going up today, so.
Uh-huh.
I hope
Well,
I didn't, I
thank
don't think
you.
I embarrassed our community in
didn't.
any way, and
And thank you for joining us.
yes, thank you very much.
Smiling through the
Yes.
whole thing.
I just was so proud of Christina.
Well, Carrie was excellent.
And Carrie
too.
did
I
a
mean,
great
Carrie
job
knocked it
too.
out of the
She
park,
really
yeah.
did.
She was, it was really.
I hope they listened. Yeah.
No, I think they were nodding and they were writing things down, and I don't know, maybe,
And they really nodded when you were talking about Vernon staying in.
Yes.
Mhm.
I do
was
think that really
did
was,
resonate, I
I do think I delivered that well, that it's not good
Good.
for us to have Vernon leave.
The rope.
Yeah, It's on so many levels, in so many ways, it's not good to
Well,
have.
they've been
running
partners
lines.
since the 50s. Yeah.
So,
But
Your graduation.
what?
Your graduation.
59? You had to ask, didn't you?
On camera, no less.
Not too many years before her husband.
we're filming. Moving right along. Is there any other under committee reports? Does anybody have anything to report?
As the sole member of the email committee, I'd like to report
Well done.
that I reached out to,
Laurie?
Lori Frechette, and she put me back in contact with the gentleman to whom.
Kevin Ryan?
Kevin
Yep.
Kevin Ryan, yeah.
And I believe thank you all, at the last meeting when we approved, I got a list that I have not had with me at the time that I'm ready to email him, but I will email him, and I wanted to wait, so I got it correct on how each person, because we went around and did each person and how they would like their name to show up. I can't remember without the piece of paper in front of me, so I'm gonna
course.
wait until I have that piece of paper in front of me, and hopefully tomorrow or the next few days, you'll know.
Well done,
From getting an
Michael.
email at dummerston.org.
Hey, thank you, Kevin Ryan.
And so anything from then on in for school issues will go to that.
Exactly.
So if
yeah.
I'm emailing you on an issue, it goes to your Dummerston.
The goal would be to have all school board related communications and to, I guess once they're up and running, we can update Lyle so that the school board portion of the WSESU page could be updated
Yeah,
with
that
the
will be.
correct contact information. And I guess the next thing is when they hand out phones and we all get a, we all get a WSCSU flip phone.
I want a
I'm
beeper.
just- a beeper?
No, you don't.
Sky
You know what that is,
pager.
Michael?
Sky pager, yeah. I listened to some early 80s rap. Come on.
Okay, not even 8 o'clock yet. I've had a long day. We're already getting out of control. Thank you very much for doing that, Michael. Thank you
course.
to Kevin Ryan.
Yes, thank you,
who's
Kevin Ryan.
So fabulous.
He's done so much for the town.
He does
Yes,
so
he
much,
has.
yes.
He's a great guy.
We have such a great town. The Addison Northwest Resolution, which is a little, maybe we've waited just long enough since
They're supposed to sign it
they're supposed to
tomorrow,
sign it tomorrow, so I'm just wondering if we want to skip over this resolution right now. Because this was urging the legislature
Mhm.
to take
Oh,
action.
so the legislature's supposed to sign, that's what
The
you're.
governor's supposed to
So
sign
they,
it
the
tomorrow.
legislature has now done this,
Yeah.
and the governor's, by all
Yeah.
accounts, is going to do that, sign it.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I'd be happy to have a discussion about it, it just doesn't seem very timely right now, so.
Fine with me.
Shall we?
Do we table it or do we take it off the list permanently?
I think we can probably take it off the list, and then if something doesn't get signed,
You
we
can
can
reintroduce it. yeah.
reintroduce it, or we could make our own resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have the second reading of the board policy LBP 10, age of attendance.
Can I have a paper cut?
Oh, you got it. So good, thank you.
Is it correct?
Are we ready? Title, Age of Attendance, Code LBP 10. For the 2018-2019 school year, children who desire to enter kindergarten at Dummerston School must have attained the age of 5 years on or before January 1st, 2019 of the school year in which the child plans to enroll in kindergarten at Dummerston School. Those students who attended kindergarten at Dummerston School in the 2018-2019 school year and have attained the age 6 on or before January 1st, 2020 may enroll at the grade 1 level.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Very well.
Any discussion on that? Move it.
Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
I mean, kids are all different.
Mhm.
Some kids are ready to go to school, some kids are not ready to go to school. Did you ever find out anything from the state about whether there was any leeway whatsoever for somebody who got all kinds of accolades of being ready
No, I intend to do that, and in fact, the attorney that had contacted me was in the room, but I just thought, oh, well, I'm here, but it didn't seem appropriate, so I will do that,
Just curious.
yeah. I've been a laggard lately.
I mean, I know Brattleboro, and the dates are different, but I know Brattleboro's had a request and that they've just done, but that still falls before the January 1st date, but,
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
so arbitrary.
I know, well, it is very arbitrary, yes. Okay, any new safety developments, and we could also do this in executive session, if you think it's more appropriate to be done there.
Did we vote on this last one?
Do we have to vote on a reading?
I don't know. I'm new.
Wait, we have to have one more reading before
Okay.
you vote to adopt it.
Okay, thank you, Lad. Keep me straight.
That's all right. What I have to tell you does not have to be an executive session.
Okay, excellent. So, yes, we're
Okay.
good to go. Sorry, yeah.
So there was an issue in Putney recently, and
Mhm.
due to that issue, they have asked me to put together a policy on not allowing firearms on school property. So I have sent that policy to our attorney to look at, do some work. I'm letting you know so that when it comes back, if you would like me to bring it to you to look at as well, I can do that. I just want to make sure that you know that that is in the works. It may be something that you want to consider down the road. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nodding in agreement. I just assumed there'd be a state law saying that,
I would assume.
So it's,
May I ask if it's public knowledge who our attorney is?
I use Pietro Lynn from Lynn, Blackman, and Mininsky.
Thank you.
So I'll bring that to you.
so great, I think we're all interested in that.
Okay.
So our weapons policy doesn't.
Talks about students, but
This is
not
an adult?
adults.
Does this, so how would this affect state police or sheriffs coming onto the?
I would assume that we will put something in there so that right now, I think it says law enforcement, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
But isn't Vermont law say a right to carry?
Vermont law says you can carry as long as you do not intend to harm. But there is a gun law, you probably know, there's a federal gun law, 1994 maybe, federal gun law, which does sort of contradict it, saying that you can't have firearms in school.
I wouldn't like to see them, so
Yeah.
I'm questioning.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's the gun law that.
Total aside, I don't know that much about gun laws, but there's a total aside. There's an excellent article in the last month or so in the New Yorker about the woman who was the lobbyist for the NRA and how a lot of these laws got passed. And it's really fascinating to learn about how the sausage got made from the gun lobby side of the street, and how those laws have kind of been exported from Florida to other areas in very, shall we say, widening of gun availability and possession in public spheres from those laws. It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's New Yorker?
Any other, as I said last week, I think safety is going to be on our agenda for the foreseeable future, just keeping it on our, just like money, safety.
So I can tell you that both Vermont State Police and Wyndham County Sheriff came and did the school.
Oh, great.
Safety survey with me. Both of them asked in terms of if we had money available, what would we look to do? And what I said was, looking at some shatterproof windows along the main entryway, and on the two classrooms that are facing the parking lot. An updated intercom system where the phone connects with the intercom and then connects with something outside so that voice can be transmitted outside as well as throughout the building. And security doors, locking security doors, like the ones in the hallways are great. If we could have one more set right outside of where first grade is right now, down that hallway, and the same like down here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So something that would automatically shut and lock as an alarm or something was pushed.
It's a story about the PTFO and their kind of locks. You talked about they're doing a fundraiser.
The fundraiser would be just a sponsoring a door, so I know that once probably that goes out, it won't be very long before we have
It
it.
hasn't gone out
It
yet.
has not gone out yet because I'm waiting to hear from, because I talked to both Lincoln County Sheriff and Mount State Police about it, and they said, you know, have you talked to the fire department? And I said, I have put an email out, but I'm waiting to get a response, which I'm sure is fine, but
Great, thank you, Joe Carroll. And I don't know why paving keeps showing
I know,
up.
you want to talk more about paving? You're
Barb
the
said,
new expert.
I've always done it, and so I said, well, just put this in, Barb, but I think there's something in our new communication, so I think I go back to my process of just, I'm putting, you know, because we have our own anally retentive qualities, but something got mixed up in her doing more of this, and she doesn't need to do more work, so paving keeps showing up a lot, but I think we can skip over that. I like it when it gets to X things off and we're going really quickly, and the AGS
Yeah.
presentation, I don't know why that, so this is, you know, we try something new, and sometimes it works really well and sometimes not, so.
Oh, the paving bid's down at the
I know, so let's
bottom.
go to new business and talk about paving.
When I saw this yesterday, I was like, oh boy, okay.
I like the way the different ways you have it too.
It's
Building and
right, it's
grounds,
different in each
updates.
place.
I know.
Paving.
But the thing was, I just put it all in an email to her, and she put it in the spaces, so I kind of don't know how this all, so anyway.
They paved Paradise and put up.
Not 8 o'clock yet, people. Hold it
We're
together.
the fun board here.
Keep
Come on.
it together. There's such a thing as a board that gets along too well. So, moving on to capital plan consideration. This handout here, everybody got that?
No, I don't. Where is it?
Oh, here's an
In
extra.
our,
Oh, I must have it somewhere.
well,
I've seen it before.
do you want me to give you,
No?
make a copy?
She's got one,
this
she's
other
got
one.
she's got one.
I've got
I had
one.
2 for some reason.
Oh, good, good.
And maybe I do have it. I do have it. It's underneath the agenda. Thank you.
So I love this idea of starting to really think about things in a hopefully somewhat more proactive way, and also if in case we have lots of money left over in certain pots, that we spend it and do the work that needs to be done to keep our facility up. So 22,000, I just wanted to go through the list here quickly.
Is this replacing all the cafeteria tables?
Yes. Possibly, yes.
And are they dangerous? Are they just looking old?
They're just, they're not dangerous, but the parts are wearing out, and we're using parts from Oak Grove's old tables that they've replaced to keep these tables up.
Okay.
You know, it's not critical, but it needs to be a little easier than they are. Because, I mean, they're all securely locked, but because the mechanisms don't work quite as well as they used to, you do run the risk of being top-heavy, and they should just come out with the,
Right.
you know, with just one hand,
Hmm.
basically. Instead of having to get a J-bar if I'm doing it.
Maybe an Eagle Scout project for
Yeah.
somebody.
Could be. My hope is that whatever we find, or we will find tables that can retrofit into what we have.
Oh,
Yeah,
Which would
size-wise, yeah.
significantly
Yeah.
reduce the cost.
that would be great. So we're hoping to do most of that next this coming year, right? Like that was the top of your list to whatever, we thought we had about 20,000 extra
yes.
in there, so that was gonna be our, sort of our top priority.
Yeah.
Rather than the roof.
You know, the roof, what I didn't bring for you is sort of the spreadsheet of the years, the amount of money that's
Mhm.
been, over the years set aside, trying to do that, but it never works really
Yeah.
well because the projected roof repairs, you don't need it. The projected arsenic absorption media, we haven't needed it, even though it's only supposed to last 10 years, it's still filtering just fine.
Mhm.
So you end up using the money
But
for the emergency repair, but,
Yeah, because was it last year that the leaked in the gym?
yes.
And so that's
Yeah.
been taken care of? And
It has, but because of the flatness of the roof, it seems like every time they look to repair something, something else gets a little pinhole, and,
Keep those bodies off. Right?
yeah, yeah. Bodies and balls.
Ball, yeah.
That's why you need a gaga ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Far away from the building.
I tell you, the building committee highly recommended not having a flat roof, but we lost out on that one.
Yeah, that rubber roof it's just,
Nope.
yeah, it gets dinged unbeknownst to
Yeah.
anybody, but so far, I don't feel like it's needed a
Total Rico.
toll, no.
Yeah, that would be a job.
Well, I think it's great for this list, great to have this list, and so as we start to think about next year and budgeting and seeing what we have left after this year with what we've done, and what we might get from.
I wonder if you want to put a line in that just says school safety upgrades.
Yeah.
And then we can think about what Joe Carroll's been saying and a little bit every year or something.
Right, I mean, there's two ways to handle it. We could take out a bond and do a
Mhm.
big thing and pay it out, or we could try to pay as we go, and I think
Mhm.
that's what we need to.
Wasn't there some talk about state having grants for the
Mhm.
safety?
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen where that is now.
We haven't seen it yet,
We
so the
haven't
color of
seen
the
it
money.
yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk.
Mhm.
And that would, this, I think also the kitchen needs, we're losing freezers and refrigerators. That I think was for my parents' kitchen.
Wow.
Right, we've just been making do. At some point, it would be wise to look at that back room that abuts the gym as sort of a walk-in cooler space. Dompier's been up here a couple of times just looking at it. I would love to go with something secondhand that some restaurant is
You can
getting
get a
rid
lot
of.
of
You
used.
get a good
Yeah.
lot of good user
Yeah.
restaurant supply companies and a bankruptcy sale.
Yeah.
How about the restaurant owner who lives in Dummerston who's just closed his restaurant?
Oh, good point. Who's that?
Oh, Matt? No, there's another restaurant going in there.
Oh, there is another one going in there?
But Cal sees a lot of that stuff come up, so if you can spec it out, because
Yeah.
he's on every list, because we've gotten, and Donnie also, like, he got one, Donnie sometimes has them hanging around, so if you can figure out what it is you think you need. I mean, paying for the walls, sometimes it makes sense to get more efficient. Also, if you're using really old refrigeration,
Yeah,
you're paying
well,
for it in electricity.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
can hear it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the electrical mechanism at the top is.
It does generate a lot of heat, though.
It does. Right.
Keeps the kitchen warm, right?
So,
But just,
I don't know how you figure out what it is the best thing you need at this juncture, but,
well, 2 months ago when the last refrigerator went, or freezer went, it was like, oh, we gotta get on this. But,
Get some
may
help
do.
from Dampier or somewhere for ideas, I mean.
And sometimes when we do the bid for the food, they have leased us
Equipment.
equipment too in the past. That then becomes ours at some point.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, if you can figure out what you need, and I can. The trick will be having him buy it, and having him locate it and not buy it for himself. But
Right.
he likes
Right.
razors. But that would be.
And then getting it into the space, which is, we can do it. Okay.
I got a guy.
He's got friends.
Well, it's something to talk about maybe over the summer is what do we think we want to do with next budgeting year? Do we want to try to just put something in? Or do we want to look at a bond and just get it all done if we're going to do some significant safety things? And I can see Joe Carroll thinking, a bond.
A bond.
What else could I put in there? Yeah, school bond. All right, anything else on our facilities review, capital plan development? I failed to bring my limited school transfer worksheet with me.
Oh, the one we were working on last time?
Oh, I did bring it. This is what it looks like this. And for some reason, this always had a major, it was controversial at town meeting every year.
Oh,
The town's capital plan would go through like
Sales
this.
through.
Yeah.
The school's capital plan, I
Really?
don't know
Yeah.
why,
It
but
was,
just seemed to be a, contentious.
yeah, people that couldn't understand it or.
And I don't know if it has to do with, putting money aside for things that you could buy now cheaper, but if you wait longer, it's gonna cost more.
Well, didn't the capital plan come out of the budget because of the state funding?
Well, yes, I mean,
Because it cost us to have it.
right, good
a capital
budgeting
plan.
practices did not fit with
Yeah.
the current funding formula.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted to get penalized, but even before the penalty came into effect, it just, I don't know.
It'll be a good time when Frank is coming to a meeting anyway to talk about this and get his opinion on what the best thing to do is and how long a bond and what it would mean to our
Yeah.
tight budgeting, but
That's how we did the gym
things-
floor and a roof repair in the kindergarten.
Yeah. And just throw them all into one and just get it done.
Like
And
put pre-K in there?
But I don't think
Maybe
you can bond.
upgrades to
That's an
upgrades to
idea.
a room, could you do?
Upgrades to a room would be, you can't bond, my understanding is you can't bond operational expenses, because that's like,
But if you
Not
did a
okay.
pre-K, you've got a lot of things that you
yeah,
have to
equipment
have
for
done.
that, yes.
Right.
So that could go on a
Bathroom.
similar
Yeah.
bond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would take some of that sting, of course, you have to start paying for the bond,
yeah, but
I'm aware of
it's
that.
it's not all at once
It's
type
not all
of
at
thing,
once, yeah.
before you get your ADM in there, so.
It's great.
Sorry?
She's just going click, 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 click.
Are you shopping already, Joe Carroll?
Bondsforus.com.
Michael, you've got a great sense of humor.
So, I failed to bring my little worksheet when we talked about limited school transfer and the financial impact. We also don't have Emily here. Did anybody review it? Take a look at it?
That was the one between Putney and us?
Well, if we did it as an initial sort of look between
I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing it.
me.
Yeah, it was
I brought it last time,
time.
and it was a really long meeting. It was the time before last, and I said, I'm not gonna torture you with it now, because you're all tired, and I'm not, only a fool would give out a spreadsheet at 8:30. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, no, I remember seeing it and we talked about it and
And I
because
just
we were
grabbed the one
talking about the
notebook.
student from Putney Grammar and.
Right, that there's a family
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and so,
I remember seeing it talking.
but I think, so if there's interest on our end, and there's interest in Putney, like, are we interested in seeing if Putney's interested in exploring it? And then we have some money in our legal line item, and so, I guess before I get to having somebody take a look at a possible contract or possible variation, are you interested in having, in approaching the Putney board and seeing if they are interested in considering?
I thought
the
we were gonna
concept.
we
Yeah.
were gonna meet with them. I thought we decided to meet with them.
Motion that we authorize Christina to talk to the Putney board
Second.
about limited school transfer.
Thank you, Michael, for that motion. And thank you, Jody, for the
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, Ann and Tim would be very interested in talking about it.
Well, I think I told you that that the family asked me, and then Ann Beekman walked past me at a rally in Putney, and so then I was like, I wonder, because it worked well for Putney, and it really was very advantageous. It was good for us. It was good for Putney.
Yeah.
So if we can make it work, and they're interested in doing that, then it's a great thing to at least put some effort into. So great, I will do that. And I will check also on if there's anything we can do about the age of attendance. Do you have any thoughts about who else I could contact that might have some creative suggestions, Lyle?
When we talked about it, I had said, well, what about our current cutoff with, parents can petition for early entrance? And you were pretty clear that that was
It didn't seem to me that
There was
anything
no
after January 1.
Yeah.
would be, yeah.
I'm just,
The problem seems to be how the state defines a legal student.
Yes.
And the problem that we're running up against is that the student that we're looking at is outside of the age of a legal student.
but what happens if you have an illegal student then?
Maybe you don't get any money for them.
Okay.
I don't
It
really
might be
know, but those are the
outright. Can we
questions
count
to ask. Or can we
0.46 for
count
that one?
0.46?
But then if we're counting so
You wouldn't, oh.
I don't know.
It seems like at the census time, they would pick up
On it.
on it, and
But even if we weren't counting that, a person, if it's good for a kid and the kid is ready,
right.
to start a life of crime so early.
I know. And I'm not sure that's a door we want to open.
Right.
Right. As unfortunate as this timing is,
And, yeah. I'm also watching with great trepidation the new pre-K funding.
Mhm.
So, where it looks, at the last time I looked at it, it looks like there won't be funding unless you have an in-house, you won't get to count your .46 unless you have an in-house pre-K.
oh, wow.
That's how it's looking to me. Is that how it's looking to you?
But, they want you to have pre-K, they want you to do this,
No,
and
they
they're doing
want you
everything
to
they
not
can do
spend
to
money.
stop it. I mean,
So, yeah, that's how I mean, it's early yet.
We can't count them, but we can still fund them.
So the funding in the current, so it's not a done deal, but the way I read the pending legislation is that the state would directly fund the $3,000. We'd be hands-off, so we wouldn't get anything for the ADM unless we had an in-house pre-K. And then I couldn't understand, it was so poorly written, that I can't understand if you have an in-house pre-K, if you get to count that ADM as a 1 or still as a .46. So
I
you
couldn't tell either.
You couldn't tell either.
Yep. And I've asked specifically.
Oh, you asked that question too?
Mhm.
But without an in-house, we can't count them?
Correct.
Yes.
We cannot.
I'm just like, have you ever
Fix this
thought of
stuff up.
what do you think about a mixed age pre-KK classroom for next year for some kids who might be interested?
And that I thought was in part of it, originally in that bill as well.
Having
Looking at
mixed.
having a mixed 4-5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that went out early.
Oh.
Yeah.
But what if we did that? And
Who's
we had a
doing it? Somebody
pre-KK
wrote it
combined
out.
classroom, you can do whatever you want, right?
Except we still have to find out who is overseeing pre-K.
Right.
Because if it's,
Agency can't-
if
right,
it's
yeah,
human
yeah.
services, then they'll
Yeah.
have different guidelines
Right.
that we'll have to follow.
But if the AOE has taken that over,
That would be, I think, something we should consider.
yeah.
what committee
You
is this
wouldn't be
in?
doing it with just one teacher. I don't.
No, I think we'd have to
No.
really
Yeah.
think, but if this is gonna, when I look at what would happen to our ADM, if we lose our pre-K bodies, everything we've done to try to up our count is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so how do we prevent that pain, especially when we want to do this anyway? And what can we do to kind of, I've just ruined your day, haven't I, Jokey? You were shopping, we were having a good time.
Talking about bonds.
Is this in the education committee?
I think it's in the miscellaneous ed bill, is what it's called.
Under Senate or House?
I want to say
Sorry.
511.
Is it 511?
Remember.
I'll try and send it to you later, Jody. Oh,
I'll look it up,
yeah,
because 911 is the financial bill, I think, right? So this is 511.
maybe I
I think Mike
misremembered.
Marucki just sent it to me
Oh,
like a couple days ago.
Uh,
I was out without power from Wednesday till Saturday afternoon, and just got internet back
well,
last night.
You were worse, we were out for 48 hours.
Yeah.
And that was
I
enough.
don't know, messed up.
It was.
I mean, still.
Oh, yeah, the hill over by you,
Is awful.
across from Glen Annis,
Yeah.
those trees that
They're
all went
just-
zoom,
yeah,
zoom,
yeah.
zoom, zoom.
We had 8 to 9 down on our property.
Oh, wow.
so do we have a need for an executive session? Is there any other business to attend to this evening?
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Jody, for the motion to adjourn. Do
I'll
we-
second.
Thank you, Sue, for the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays or abstentions? The ayes have it, we are adjourned.